I mentioned it won't take too long. Brian, the first one. And these are the things we'll talk about. You could see Pace and Christ Chapel Academy drawing. So Pace came to me and said, are we going to do the same thing this year we did last year and give away some free registrations? And I said, sure. And they said, okay, let's split the cost and we'll do 2. I said, okay. So if you're a Pace member, you're going to come around and give you a ticket. All right, and where's Mr. Gomez? Mr. Gomez has all the tickets. Or did the people get their tickets already? Everybody got their tickets? Who didn't get a ticket? We got some people without tickets. Okay? Because just look around now, the odds are great that you're going to win. I'm going to tell you, I'm a guy that doesn't win anything. Okay, but recently I won. All right, you see the commercials for shingles. All right, they tell you 1 out of 3 people over 60 who had chicken pox can get shingles. All right, I said, I'm not going to get shingles. You know, that's 1 out of 3, that's 33%. I don't win anything. Okay, it could be 1 out of 2 and I wouldn't get it. Well, guess what? I got shingles, so I won something finally. It took me to over 60 before I won. So the odds of you having something can be very high for you today. So we just want you to take advantage of that. And we'll do it at the end, but wanted to make certain. And Mr. Gomez will come around and make sure you all have the coupons. All right, and so we're going to talk about those items up there. So Brian, let's get started and put up the first one. All right, hopefully you can all see that. That's giving you the budget. I'm trying to replace some funds that we had to use, as I think I told a number of you, of what we had and what we've used to make sure we could carry with the lesser amount of students. So that budget is based on 450 students coming into the academy and 90 students coming into pre-K. The cost is, in the terms of the increase, and this will all be sent to you tomorrow, so you don't have to take notes. Denise will send it all out to you. If you want to take notes, it's fine. But Denise will send it out to everyone tomorrow. The cost basically is about $5 to $6 a week in terms of tuition increase. The next, and those will be the rates for pre-K, and those will be the rates for then K through 12 on the tuition. There's no increase on any of the early fees. All the fees have stayed the same, the early fees, okay? I really need your help to tell other people to pay the early fees because we cannot get discounts unless I order early and pay early. So in other words, I have to order all the books in April and in May. The technology or anything I want to do, I have to order it early to take advantage. And for a school like us, we're talking, quite a bit of money when we do those orders. If I save 10% on $100,000, that's almost 2 students. And that's the amount of money we're talking about in terms of what we're spending for technology and for books and materials that we're ordering. And so if I could order them early, I can take advantage of the cost savings, which I want you to get. All right? I look at things in this manner. What is it that we're doing for the students? What is it that we're doing for the parents? And what is it that we're doing for the staff and teachers? That's the way I look at budgets when I'm planning them. I want to make certain that you are aware of what we're doing and how I can help you help us, as well as then, which ultimately all our students should benefit from, and to then pay our teachers and staff. And so that's what it's based on. The majority of our money, the next one, Brian, there it is, it's there. Okay. The majority of our money, 80% of the amount of money that comes in here gets paid to teachers and staff. And that's common. Schools are anywhere from 70 to 85%. Some are even up to 90%. I'm trying to get it down to about 85, but we need more students to do that. Okay? And part of the more students is we want you, when you recommend someone, then to be rewarded. So we increased this year to have $300 as a tuition credit come to you. All right? Next one, Brian. We had a tremendous year last year and the beginning of this year. We have a national accreditation rating. The school, Brian, you can get to the next one with all of the information behind it, that the school received. And we were very pleased, naturally, and you need to be, where we were recognized as the top private school in Prince William County, which was a surprise to all of us because no one asked us to vote. So it's really great when you're being recognized by other individuals and people within the community. And what it's saying then to you is they know who you are. Next one, Brian. And they know the programs that we have. They highlight it in their write-ups about the school of our fine arts program. And they highlighted about the missions that the children do from pre-K up in through high school, of going into the community, of making quilts, of making blankets, of giving gifts to the elderly, dealing with the homeless. When the kids took the Chick-fil-A coupons out and gave them out, there's nobody else doing anything like that, which surprised me. But it also surprised the people who were doing this type of voting and saying, wow, here's a place that's not only the parents are coming to pay, but the students are willing to give more and go beyond themselves. And the students were written up in several newspapers, and it was exciting to see that. But more than that, for I know you and for us, it was that the students saw that there is something more they could do with the little that they have. And some of our seniors last year went and not only gave their Chick-fil-A gift away, but they paid out of their own pocket more money for someone to be able to have a meal. And that's exciting when someone realizes the significance of that and what they need to do. And so that occurred in several different areas, and we were excited to see that. And naturally, we continue to go and visit Albania and take students on mission trips, which we will do again. And again, those types of things have been recognized from other groups. And we were highlighted in the campus newsletters and things about our school going over to Albania and meeting with Albanian students and Albanian students coming to Christ. And the best story to date on all that is a whole family that finally came. One of our students led a young teenage girl to the Lord. She led her brother to the Lord. The brother led the mom and dad to the Lord, and they were all baptized this last summer. Now that's exciting when you hear about things that came back to us from Albania, from the people who we were with, to say, your kids had an impact, and that's what part of what our message is. And so we were really excited to hear those kind of things. The before and after care continues to grow with clubs. This year, for the first time, we're going to be competing with chess. So in, I think it's from K through 8th grade, we have the club going. And if your child's not participating, they can. There's going to be competition for the first time. And also for the first time, we're competing in Bible against other places. And the last competition, which took place in December, the students from here, I think, won 7 out of 10, was it? 7 out of 10. So it was exciting to hear of what the students were accomplishing in new activities that were taking place within the life of the school. And it's your children that are doing these things and winning those, as well as we continue to offer tutoring to those that need it that are in the before and after care program. I mentioned to you the accreditation. In any school and in any program, that's a huge issue which people spend a lot of time on. And so Denise, Mrs. Wolf, Courtney expended huge amount of time and work as we prepared for that, for the review which took place in September. So Mrs. Nelson and others, the whole program from pre-K all the way up through 12 was reaccredited, which means we're good for 5 years. And the certificate I held up was a national recognition of that because of the reviews that we had within that program. And you don't think it's huge, but they ate with the kids and with us, and they wrote up the kitchen service. They said, we talked to the kitchen staff, and they love your kids. Well, I said, great, we don't want them to. But what they didn't realize is all those ladies that are working for us have been here for at least 8 years or longer. And it's exciting to see that because they only want to make things better. And they went, and some of them it took longer than others because of a language barrier that they had to overcome, to become licensed as food service managers. So they're all licensed as food service managers. And 8 years ago, we had that many. And we wanted to get them going. And once they started, they all wanted to do it. And that just continues to raise the level of what we need in terms of the school. And I know people sometimes say, well, it's a small item, but we want everything that we're about to be the best because that's what we know you want. One more back, Brian, because I need to mention this one. This is why we try to encourage you to stay here. It was with the ACT and the SAT, Brian. Mr. Dottie ran some numbers for us as we've gotten the recent scores. And the data tells us that the students who have been here and have stayed here have scored 150 to 200 points higher than students coming in as sophomores or juniors within our school. And so it's telling us that what Mrs. Wolf developed, because people will say, well, you're only working on high school, or you're only doing this for middle school, or you're only bringing technology in this area. We started 8 years ago with a plan to elevate the elementary school and what we were doing in the resource program that we have so all the children can compete. That is now proving to impact the rest of the school because the students have been scoring higher on these tests, which are still looked at very importantly. And what you want to know is how does that compare nationally or within the county? And I think last year we were 200 and some points higher, and I assume it'll be the same this year as the early scores are coming in. But what did come in that Mr. Dottie wrote to me about was the fact of the students who have been here. He said, Pastor Paul, you really need to know this. He said, there's a huge difference between the students who have been here, and particularly in English and grammar and in writing, than the students that have come later on. Because the county and other areas have changed those types of requirements in what they do. And so we would expect that to elevate. And we're working on expanding the math curriculum to make that the same level in terms of height. And the seniors that have been accepted already into schools continues to expand early on for those that wanted early admission. And we've encouraged them to continue to reach out beyond where they think they could go. And so for the first time, we actually have a student who applied to Harvard, and she's now on the waiting list. So we can't wait to hear of what happens about those kind of things. So we encourage the students. Last year we thought there were 3 students that could get in, and we told them that, but they didn't want to apply. So you don't know if you can go somewhere if you don't apply. But anyway, we only tell you that to encourage your students to continue to think beyond where they are. Next one, Brian. Teacher certification and training and community learning groups. Again, the school is only as good as the teachers who are working in the classroom. And our teachers want to be here and stay here. I mentioned to you at Christmas time, I had no complaints from any teacher when I told them when they came back there weren't enough students to give a pay raise and that we weren't going to be able to do anything. So I need to tell you again that your generosity at Christmas time allowed us to take all that, and it came to over $11,000 with the PACE money that we wrote checks to each of the teachers. And so I thank you for your generosity again. And that told the teachers how much you also care for them at that point in time. And we have been working to elevate their certification as well as their training. And within the life of the school and in with the life of their profession, there's a thing called professional learning communities, PLCs. And that means that the teachers that teach English meet together, teachers that teach science meets together, teachers that are in elementary school in different levels meet together. And now we've expanded that to the teachers that are in pre-K, with the 4-year-olds meet with the elementary kindergarten teachers. We've always believed that our program should just be able to be seamless, and kids coming for 3 or 4-year-olds go right into kindergarten without any problem. And we've seen that as a past, but now we're expanding that to where the students will be engaged as well as the teachers engaged with the early students to help them along and to see what they can do. So these things have been going on. You may or may not have been aware of them, but I want to bring them to you because of the success that is taking place within the staff and the success which we believe would only take place within the students. Next one, Brian. And I had to bring this up because everybody thinks I favor basketball over everything else or athletics. Yesterday or the day before, the rankings came out for the first time, and Christ Chapel Academy was ranked #1 in our division of 48 schools. So our boys varsity team is doing well. My sport is golf. It's not basketball. So I tell you something, if you're ever asked a question, what would I prefer, what would I want to do? It's not basketball, but people think for some reason that I favor that. And I will tell you that I went to see our boys play over Christmas, and they really represented the school well, both in their demeanor as well as who they were. And it was great to see after a game that all the young men from both teams and the coaches took hands in center court and prayed. And that's what you want. That's what you want, to be able to say to the world, this is who we are. Whether we win, whether we lose, we're going to recognize Christ, and we're going to pray together and do that. And that was fantastic. Next one, Brian. So get ready. We do believe that this year we have another opportunity, as we did last year when we played for the state championship, that we should be there again. So you may want to come and see that. The new initiatives. Next, Brian. All right. Our software provider is called RenWeb, and we went to them last year in 2014 and started talking about how we can make the re-enrollment in the online process easier for you. That if you make one change and do it, it's in the system. And you don't have to do it again. And it will show you on a screen or give you a copy if you want to print out exactly what you've done. So Denise, Brittany, myself, and have been sitting, learning all this, and we gave them all of our forms, and they've entered them. Now, we were supposed to be ready to go by the 31st of December, and as of today, we're close, but we're hoping to have that all available for you to be able to re-enroll online. And that's our plan. That will save us a lot of trees. It will save us a lot of paper and should save you and us a lot of time in that whole process. And we will keep you updated with it. We finished everything in November and have given them everything that we have. They gave it all back to us. We reviewed it, checked out how we could go on by using some parents who gave us permission to use their data to put it in to see if it worked. It seemed to work. And so we are one step away. Denise yesterday and Brittany were receiving the final training to make certain we had no problems and to be connected to who is going to be our project manager now that everything's supposed to be working. And that's sort of the last step that that person will sign off and say it's working to us. And the last part of it was some of you have come to us and said, could we use our credit card or can we do something different to help with paying fees or other kind of things? And we have signed, again, starting last year in November, agreements with a credit card vendor to take credit cards online. And you should be able to then pay everything. So for those of you who get points, you'll be able to get points. For those of you who use American Express, I'm sorry we could not do American Express, okay? American Express costs double almost the cost of other credit cards. And we could not do that. And so we don't have that ability to use those. Next one, yes ma'am. No. Did you hear the question? If you use your credit card online, will there be additional fees added to that? And the answer is no. And this is what I mentioned earlier about you are our best source of new students. We put some information into newspapers and we receive very little in terms of people coming to us from newspapers. We updated our web and we pay for Yahoo and Google to keep pulling us up and doing that as referrals. And that's where we get a larger number from. But the best source is you. When you tell someone else that your child is a student here and that you're satisfied, then they want to be here and have their student here and to be satisfied. And so naturally, I want to make certain that we are telling you we appreciate that and giving back to you at the same time for doing that. So this is, again, one of the things we're attempting to do. Next, Brian. Okay. We have a resource program to assist students that struggle, both in elementary as well as in secondary. And our teacher in secondary became ill and had to leave. And we had been interviewing for the past a month and a half to find someone. We actually interviewed this person in the summertime, and it was flipped a coin who we were going to take almost. And so we called her back up, and God has the timing because I thought I really missed it. I judge myself on hiring and reading individuals and knowing whether or not they're the right person to come here. Because when we bring someone in, it's a huge investment. They may not be a fit for Christ Chapel Academy because we aren't the same culture that are in other schools. We believe each of your students is a future leader, and we want our teachers to see that. We believe there will be a future Christian leader. We want our teachers to see that. We just don't want our teachers to teach material. We want them to engage the students to become learners, and for our students to master the material so they will be successful. The stories come when our students who go off to college are successful, and that's what we want. We know that the 90% of you want your student to go on to college. So we're not preparing them to go, we're preparing them to be successful there and to continue on in life. And so one of the ways of us doing that is to have people available to help us. And so this young lady is coming to us. She works as a resource teacher now. She's under contract with a private company that supports public education, and she does the same job for the public school system that she will do for us, and she needed to give a sufficient notice to leave and to come with us. And I mentioned timing. She said that it wasn't time for her to come last August to be with us, and that though she wanted the job, she was glad she didn't get it because she was going to leave for the wrong reason and needed to finish some things where she was to get everything organized properly for all the students she had. And now the time is right for her to leave. And so we're excited to have Patricia come and be with us. She has a master's and has been working in this field for about 15 years. So we're really excited. Next, Brian. This may become something that everyone who stays here, except for the current seniors, that will thank me. We have been looking for a community college to partner with us to be able to offer more dual enrollment classes. What do I mean by more dual enrollment? We want to be able to have Mr. Dottie, who is teaching calculus, or Mr. Curtis, who is teaching American history, or someone else who's teaching a core subject, be able to take that class and offer it to our students, both as a college class as well as a high school class. And so for the past 4 months, I've been working with a community college in the state of Virginia. They came here twice. They met with us. They came when we had our teacher conference in November and presented their program to us. And now we have submitted all of our teachers with master's degrees in the fields to find that they will accept them as being their professors, which means the following, is we don't have to go and pay for someone else to come in and teach, but the teachers here, because of their degrees, are able to teach those core subjects and teach them both in terms of high school as well as in college. But the real thing to you is the cost. And it is going to be extremely, extremely, extremely low. Cheaper than Nova, okay, per credit, per course. And as soon as we get that, we'll give it back to you. They haven't given us all the approvals yet, but it's real simple. The community college is paid by student, and the state gives that community college X amount of dollars per student. Okay? The state, your tax dollars, gives that community college X amount of dollars per student. We don't have to match it. We just have to pay for the teacher. So it's exciting, and they're accredited, and their courses will be accepted anywhere because they're part of the higher education system. And so wherever your student would go, whether to William & Mary, to Tech, to private schools, those classes will all be accepted. It's not like taking an honors class and then taking and testing out to see if you get a 5 or a 4, so your credit will be accepted. And it won't just be as what we're doing with Valley Forge right now with the humanities class or philosophy class or history class. It will be the gamut of science, technology, English, and history. Now, they offered us a cohort program, which means that they believe that a school could have a student who starts as a sophomore and finishes high school with more than a year's worth of credit. That's really extensive. That student or students would not be able to participate in sports or do other types of things or fine arts because the demands would be very high. And we don't know if we want to push that and give up some of the distinctiveness of who we are. And we don't know if we could do that. There's one school right now in the state of Virginia that's trying it, and we're going to follow them and see what they do. They're a high school of, I believe, about 450, and they have 6 students. So we'll follow them and track them and see what they do. Next, Brian. Oh, the feedback. We've had families already begin to visit us for next year and who have come into the school, as well as taking a look at who we are and have remarked about your students. They've remarked that they were polite, they opened doors, they talked to them, they did not run away from them, and we have more coming in, and it's the best kind of referral other than yourself. Next, Brian. And our students have come back over the Christmas holidays. I was visited by at least 6 graduates from last year, and they all came to say they have been successful in their first semester of college in terms of not only maintaining their grades, but their faith. My question to them was, where are you with the Lord? And I was very excited to hear that they realized that they had to do things by themselves. And some of them made some bad choices to start with. But they recognized it quickly and moved away from it to go back to who they knew God wanted them to be. And not only did they do that, but they all maintained B averages or higher. And so it was, it was really great. And some are in pre-engineering, pre-med programs. We're not talking going into PE. No disrespect to PE teachers. Last one, Brian. Okay, the drawing. And then we'll take questions. So, has everyone gotten a coupon? Where did, here he comes, Mr. Gomez. All right, we're even going to use a student. And it's not one of his children. All right, so you're going to pick one out and read the number. Okay, you ready? All right. All right, now you read that number out.
9488991.
91. All right, here we go. Mr. Gomez will get you a certificate. All right, you ready? Let's put that one back away. Okay, we don't want to draw them twice. Okay, now take another one. You ready?
948894.
94. There we go. Okay, you can drop that back in there. That's all we have. 2, right? Just 2. Thank you. Okay. We deserve to give you more on a cold day to come out. So, any questions, comments, and I'll do my best to respond to them. Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. Okay, the question is, with the new system coming up with the credit card, will you be able to also pay lines in? That is a good question. We are trying to make certain that we could cover not only all the lunches, but that. That requires us to get another swipe machine. And right now, they have only given us what we have for bookkeeping. So I'm not certain what the cost would be or what we would have to do to be able to do that. Because when you're doing lines, then, and if you do a $2 purchase, like I get a water and a candy bar, you know, it will cost us a lot of money to swipe. Oh, okay, sure. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, that's even a better question because I can say affirmative yes to that. So the question is to take the lunches and add money to it. Will you be able to use the credit card? And that's the plan. Yes, ma'am. Good. Very good question. Thank you. And that's what we wanted for you because so many of you have asked us. When we did a survey a while ago and you responded just like in the terms of the bus riding, we're still trying to figure out how we can get buses because people want us to pick children up in certain areas to be able to get them here. And it's a matter of us having the buses before we can even try to find bus drivers. It's a very good question. Any others? Come on, tell me what you're thinking or ask me. Okay, yes, sir. Thank you. The comment was that we did a better job than in the past, and he didn't say in the past, I just say in the past, because I have been here and we have tried repeatedly to find different ways to make sure we could communicate to you. Because I don't want to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning looking at road reports and listening to weather reports and getting my phone jigged from Fairfax County, Stafford County, and Prince William County to see if they're going to be open, okay, and what they're going to do. But I'm more concerned about the roads and that we communicate with you. And Brian Citizen has helped us in updating the material with the web is also coming back to you. And that was one of the reasons why we went to RenWeb, because it offers us even more ability to communicate with you. So thank you for that good comment. And naturally, that's what we need. We need to make certain we're communicating with you so you know what we're doing. Now, I need to tell you, first and foremost, that if I think it isn't safe, because I have 4 grandchildren coming here, and people working for us, if it's not safe for them, I wouldn't think it's safe for you. But now we're into the 30s of students that are driving, that have their licenses, and I don't want to see any of them put their life at risk or you to put your life at risk to get here. So I tell you up front, and this is how I believed from the time I arrived here, if you don't think it's safe for you to come or your child, then don't come. You know, we'll give you an excused absence. You just need to tell us you didn't believe it was safe, and we'll attempt to make our decisions that is safe for our staff or people to come here. But at the same time, we don't have students who have to walk 5 blocks to school in this cold weather or to go on a bus for an hour. I have grandchildren out in Loudoun County who go to public schools who are transported for over 1 hour each way, in the morning and in the afternoon, because of where they go to school. And my daughter-in-law took one of the children to school on Tuesday rather than stay on that bus because she didn't know how long. And when she arrived at the school, they just got the kids and put them into the gym and into the cafeteria because they didn't have staff and they didn't know what they were going to do in the morning. And those become very difficult. And So we don't want that to happen here. We don't want you to come. We don't want to then make a decision. So we try to do it, and we try to do it extremely early. And sometimes you will miss it. I mean, this weather in certain areas was my son in Loudoun County. They had 5 inches where they live, and it was very, very bad, and they should not have. But when people are doing this at 4 and 5 in the morning, you're dependent on what people are telling you. And if they're telling you you're going to get a dusting and you get 5 inches, it becomes very difficult. But I appreciate the comment, and we will do our best to communicate with you all the time. There was another question over there, Brian.
For parents like us who are sort of making decisions in terms of high school, why would I want to put my child in Christ Chapel Academy? Because
the question really is, why would you want to take your child out of Christ Chapel Academy? I'm not being facetious with you, but I do believe that what has been put together here is preparing the students to be successful in college. And we have seen it over and over again right now with the success. The first graduating class of students has finished college now. And one is now in a master's program at Princeton University. One is studying for her PhD in chemistry at another university. One is in law school at Liberty University. And these are kids before we even finished everything that we have now done in both middle school and the high school. But more important than that, I must say to you that I am firmly convinced that the students are here are going to be the students and the leaders in the future that will raise the consciousness of our culture. Our culture is very sad, where we don't value life at all. Whether it's young men who are being shot, whether it's policemen who are being shot, whether it's them taking their lives in terms of suicide, or if you read the local paper recently about the numbers of individuals who are alcoholics and are dying from alcoholism at young ages. The numbers keep increasing and increasing, and they have no hope. And the thing that we tell students here is that you have hope in Christ, and you have the answers of how to give someone else hope. So we do believe that what has taken place here in the school is way ahead above anything else. At the last graduation class, there were several teachers from Prince William County who came here. And one of them was very annoyed with me because she said, you highlighted how well your school has done but said nothing else about the county. And I wrote her back and I said, my parents don't have students in the county, they have students here. Why would I not tell them that the students here got over $1.1 million worth of scholarships, which exceeded some of the high schools that have 500 kids in their graduating class? And, you know, we had less than 30. And so I said, why would I want to tell them that, you know, James Wood had 2 students that only got full scholarships when we had a whole number of them? So that's why you really want to do that. But I would say to you the reverse of that is, why would you want to take them out? And if there are reasons you believe that you need to pull your student out of here, and I know it's expensive. Again, I have 4 grandchildren here, and so I'm told all the time. But I do believe the success of what our students are doing will pay you the benefits that you want as a parent who is raising a student that you want to be the best. And we don't want to accept that for anyone who's here to be anything less than that of each individual. But that's a great question. Thank you so much. I'm convinced that the longer your students stay here with the staff that we have, and I had to go through each of the personnel files recently to find out how many teachers I had with masters. Did you add them up, Brian, or Andrew? Was it 15, 16? Okay, when I came here, there was Mrs. Wolf and myself. that had a master's degree. And we have been able to hire because people have wanted to come here because they've grasped hold of our vision. And the teachers that are here, we're helping them get their master's degrees. And so we have that many now here working, which is a much higher percentage than you have normally even in county schools. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to address that question. Our son had been here from kindergarten till 8th grade, and then he went to public school for freshman and sophomore year, and it was quite an eye-opener for him. You know, growing up here in Christ Chapel, he became accustomed to our culture here. So he had a culture of shock when he'd left, and he wanted to come back. He did have good teachers. Some were way better than others, but overall, he saw that in returning, he saw how much the teachers cared. He saw how much they wanted him to succeed. They cared about their jobs. They took the time to pray for the class. They are actually hurt when students are struggling and not getting it. They really put out extra effort to make sure that the kids can succeed. Whereas he felt very alone when he was in public school and having to work extra hard to hold teachers accountable to make sure, you know, his work was inputted, and that, you know, just a lot of problems. I'm not saying it was all of his teachers, but he is glad to be back. He's in 11th grade. Especially being able to be exposed to 2 Bible classes for the seniors and his junior class. One is the study hall, but he listens very intently in that senior Bible class and is very impressed and learning so much from the instructors and how to think critically. And it's not just in Bible, but it's in other classes as well. You know, it's like, why are you learning this? What are you going to, what's the next level you're going to take with this subject? And more importantly, why do you believe what you believe? And
Thank you.
So
that's Mrs. Merritt. Her son is here, and he's actually doing extremely well, and we're really very proud of him, not only in the classroom, but in other things. Thank you. Donna.
Just a quick question about Race for Education. What were the results, and what are the ability to purchase buses in last year's Race for Education with the athletic field?
Sure. The Race for Education, Brian will correct me if I give you wrong numbers. This year we raised a little over $37,000 to pay for the rides and the other kind of things. Cost about $5,000. That included some of the postage and whatnot, and then to cover the expenses of having someone organize that for us cost us another about $6,000. So we netted about $26,000, give or take a few dollars. The cheapest and inexpensive bus that I could find right now is $46,000. I really have not wanted to go into debt to buy a bus until I'm certain that we can cover all the cost. It's still our plan to do that. The money from the previous year, we raised, I think, about 32 the previous year, and the costs were pretty much the same. In other words, I think the rides were a little more. Brian found better deals for us, and the amount of money that we had to pay for the person to run the program for us cost us about the same. So we only netted about $19,000. And unfortunately, I needed money to pay for the swipe cards and the security kind of things that I didn't have enough money for. And it was all supposed to go for the field, but I'm not receiving any money for the field. But this year we've set all the money aside because I told you for the buses, and that money is set aside for the bus or buses that we'll get, and we'll keep you updated because we want to purchase 2 of them. We think we have enough interest in 2 geographical areas for doing that. So all that money is a separate set aside. Good question. Thank you for asking that. Any others? Did we have anything else, Brian? Was this it? Okay. We've come close now. I want to make certain that I'm hearing from more of you than just the people that know me after being here this long, that feel comfortable enough to come and tell me the good, bad, and the ugly. Okay? I know that I'm not perfect because my wife tells me that on a regular basis. Okay? So I know I still have work to do even though I've been married for 50 years. And I realize that. And there are things that we may miss. But you just need to know that we don't look, myself, Mrs. Wolf, Mr. Porter, Miss Watson, Mrs. Nelson, don't look at you or your children as other than you're part of our family. One of the distinctiveness about us is to make certain we're treating you like that. I took 2 of my grandchildren with me for 3 days. One had graduated from Old DU with an IT degree, and the other one is finishing her nursing degree at James Madison. And we were going to go away during Christmas break, but my wife was ill. So we took a 3-day getaway that I found on the internet, and I took them away with me. And they wanted to know why I would treat them like that. And I told them that, you know, you're part of my family, and I would treat you no different than I would your mom or dad. And I want you to know that you need to remember that so that you treat your cousins and your own family the same way. I look at each of you as the same, in that I would not want to do anything or have anyone on my staff hurt, harm, be unpolite to any of you or your children. And we continue to want to work on that to make certain. And in our culture today, it tells us that the center of the universe is you. And that the you-ness is whatever you want, no matter what impact it has on someone else, should be taken care of first and foremost. I don't think that plays into the gospel of Jesus Christ. And that's what I believe all of you want, because that's why you're here. And so that's how we attempt to look at this and to make certain. So you should always feel comfortable coming to me just as you would come to your brother or to your grandfather, or however you want to look at me, because different people look at me differently. But I would say to you, feel that comfortable to say to us that there's something that may be amiss or something else. Because you give me, there are 445 students in K through 12th grade. And there's 80 students in pre-K. That's 525 students, of which we have parents of about 340. 2 families, you have 600. 2 parents. I'd rather have all your eyes and all your thoughts with me as we continue to move forward and do what God would have us do. So there isn't a annoying question. There isn't a dumb question. There could be a dumb answer by me, but there's not a dumb question or a comment that we would not want to take and hear from you about anything that's going on here. And again, we want to make sure we're partnering with you so that when your child leaves here, that they're going to be the people that will stand up to the rest of the culture and say, we're not going to do that. There is a young, I'll end on this story, because I would not have expected Courtney, her name is Courtney, she's a freshman and she goes to Carson Newman and she's majoring in photography. And I had the privilege of going on a mission trip with her and getting to know her better. She's an outstanding young woman. I would not have expected Courtney as a freshman at Carson Newman in her dorm to post a list of notes on her door and other doors and say, if you need hope, take this sheet. If you need faith, take this sheet. If you need love, take this sheet. And she had kids taking off all these responses that she had to put up new ones because she was giving them answers in terms of scripture of what to have. She decided that she was going to be a difference maker rather than having something done to her. And that's what we're attempting to have all of our students do, to do that wherever they're going, that they should feel strong enough and comfortable enough of who they are to be able to do that. And so to me, that's exciting. And Courtney had been with us a long, long time, and her parents here. And I'm really so proud of her and what she did, because no one told her to do that. Just as I told Barry, you can go to the university and follow everyone else, or you could decide that you'll have the Bible study in your room. You make the choice. And so it's exciting to hear the students. And they only got that because of parents like you who have encouraged them, and teachers here who said, look, you can make a difference wherever you go. So that's the results we're getting back from students that have left here. And that's exciting stories. All right? So nothing else? Well, go in the peace of the Lord, and thank you so much for coming out on this extremely cold day and being with us. And again, I'm going to set up some other meetings that I'll meet in small groups with people who want to meet that have like interest from pre-K through elementary, middle school, and high school, so that you can tell me things that you may be important to you, and I can continue to update you on things that are going on in those small groups. God bless, and again, have a great evening. And see you at 8 o'clock.